What's up, people? My name is Shootin LJA, and welcome to the Shootin Rants. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a look back in this episode of the Shootin Rants. And myself and Gavin, the Gman Henry, at the Gman, Gman84 on Twitter. Look him up, fantastic fella, one of my good friends. It's one of them was where we took a trip to an anti-BNP protest. Now, there were people protesting there that the BNP were being put on a national stage. Question Time, the BBC's flagship, one of their flagship political programs. And Nick Griffin, the openly racist and xenophobic Nick Griffin at that time, was being put on the platform of Question Time, and a lot of people weren't happy about it. So we took a trip down to Westfield, just outside Westfield, by White City Television Centre, BBC Television Centre. There were people picketing from Unison, Unite, among others as well. But they were protesting the fact that Nick Griffin was being given a national platform to spread his hateful views of those of black and minority ethnic backgrounds. So we asked the question to people because we noticed that there weren't actually as many black and Asian people protesting as we would have expected, considering it was an issue that was directly pertinent to us. So we asked people why, and we also asked, do black people need to get more involved in politics and protests like this? Because at the end of the day, the only voice that doesn't matter is the one that goes unexpressed. And if you're not heard, then people may not know that there's a problem. So have a look at the footage we got back in 2009. Yes, 11 years ago now. Have a look at the footage that we got discussing those topics, and I'll see you on the other side. We are here on the day that Nick Griffin of the BNP, the fascist, racist, whatever you want to call them, BNP, are actually going to be on Question Time at 9 o'clock tonight. And we thought we'd come down here and see what was going on. Now, there's a protest actually going on right behind me. Everybody is here just as an outcry to the BBC putting the BNP on a national platform on Question Time. Why are you here, and what issue are you protesting against in particular?
Well, I'm here not because I don't believe they should be on Question Time. I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't say that freedom of speech should be to everyone. But the fact that the BNP, if they use any form of defamatory, i.e. slander, they can't be arrested for it. They are a thick fascist party. Though they're not as bad as Darwinism, it's the same thing. And Question Time is such a civilised programme. If Nick Griffin goes on Question Time, he's able to defend himself, he's able to defend his policies, therefore making people think it's not fascist, it's just extreme nationalism. If you're a nationalist, join UKIP, don't join the BNP, because it's not good, it's not healthy.
What issue in particular has brought you down here tonight, and what are your feelings on that particular issue?
I'm here today because, as a representation from the black community, here to protest directly at the fact that the BBC have allowed a man of this stature, as you know, an openly racist man, to get the chance to air his views to such a wide audience, which is why I'm here today.
We are fortunate enough to actually have a BBC employee with us, and a black man at that. My opening question will be, as a BBC employee, how has this anti-BNP protest affected you today? Has it, or?
Well, the anti-protests, I'm really pleased that they're here. For me, it was one of those kind of decisions that is made in your name, representing you, that you totally disagree with. But you have to stay quiet because you're working during working hours. But as soon as my working hours were finished, I had to stand up on the street as a BBC licence payer and make sure that the BBC heard my views.
As a black man, does this issue of Nick Griffin of the BNP being on Question Time, does it hit a little closer to home because you are black?
Yes, of course. Not only because I'm black, but no matter whatever color you are, it should affect every nationality, every color, because if it hits one, tomorrow it will be the next one. So that's why we all stay together and not to embrace racist, and we should not embrace BNP that separate and go against the equality.
You said you were standing up as a BBC licence payer. Are you standing up more because of that, or more because you're a black person and the BNP are trying to kick us and the Asian community out of the country?
Well, obviously, as a black person, this is something that is very close to my heart. But I think as a BBC licence fee payer, I'm justified to be able to stand up on the street and give them my views. Because as you know, you pay your taxes, and so you would expect the BBC to put on something that should include the majority of the people. And seeing as the BNP do not allow any non-white people into their party, I think it's a travesty.
You look at the crowd here, and it's pretty much 70-30 in a white favour. When the BNP discriminate against blacks and Asians. Do you think there's any particular reason why there is not more of a black and Asian turnout? Specifically, do you think there's a reason why there's not more of a black turnout here?
Yeah, well, that question, you know, I've not really looked to analyse that. What it is, when you look at the statistics, yeah, we're only black. The ethnic minorities is only 1.5% in this country. Most of us is concentrated in the cities, right? I mean, we're living. This is predominantly a white person's country. It's not really a black person's country. But I'm not making no excuses. There should be more black people demonstrating about things like this, because at the end of the day, it's for our benefit. You understand? Because at the end of the day, if this party comes in, we're going to have to leave this country. Now, I'm born in this country. I'm born and bred in this country.
Have you actually seen a lot of black people here? Is it more black people? Is it more white people?
To tell the truth, there's actually more white people here. My friend, she noticed it first when we started. We haven't seen a lot of black people here, to be honest, which is a little bit disappointing.
I have to say, I'm slightly underwhelmed with the turnout of black people here this evening, because there's a lot of black people living in this area, and I can't see many black people, I have to say. You know, I was standing there across there before, and I was looking, and I thought we were the only two black people here at first, you know. But I'm glad to see so many people in general have turned out, because I think it's not just about black or white. You know, fascism is something that affects everybody, you know.
To a large extent, a lot of the institutions in this country, they're still backwards. They're still racist. I mean, it's got better. You know, but like I said, I don't like when you get to study certain things, because I'm reading a bit more. I don't like when a lot of people get on the back of the black issue. It's wrong. You know what I mean? The black issue is a personal issue, and it needs addressing properly, you know. But, I mean, it's good that people's coming out to support, long as it's for the right reasons. They're convicted in their heart, that they're genuine, and they're not marching, coming out here protesting for their own personal ideologies, because it's not about that. It's not about that at all. It's about, to me, it's about the injustices. It's about the all the discrimination, all the things what we've been through, and it hasn't been addressed.
It was just really interesting to see the 70-30 split, and that's a guesstimate. It's probably 80-20. Of white people to black people that are coming out for something that is a black and Asian issue. At the end of the day, the BNP are not against white people. They're not against white people. They're against black and Asians. And I'm surprised that there are not more black people, especially out here. One of the main things we noticed is that the turnout of white people, in comparison to black and Asian people, it was at least 70-30. Does it hit you more personally because you're black?
Definitely. Like I said, I started off by saying the reason why I'm here today is as a representative of the black community. I mean, you've got to look at it from the perspective where Louis Farrakhan, for example, he's not allowed in the country because it said by Gordon Brown and the Chancellor, the Foreign Secretary, that he incites racial tension. Well, I'm sorry, but Nick Griffin does exactly that. Our community, we don't engage in politics enough. Again, that's why I'm here. Why I'm here today.
You know, it's everybody's country, you know, because there's people. London, if you walk around London, you know, the kind of mixture of people that you see around London, you know, is incredible. I mean, as a city, London is outstanding, you know. There's not many cities in the world that have the kind of intense mixture of people that London does, you know, and people keep coming to London probably because of that, because it's a place that is accepting of cultural differences, racial differences, you know, and therefore, I refute the whole idea of it being a white country because, black and Asian people were invited here during the Windrush. That is why black and Asian people came here. They were invited. We didn't come here because we just decided, let's go there. It was an invitation. And they took up many roles and posts that people did not want to fulfill, and they did that, and they have a history of doing that.
What really pisses me off is the fact that, it is 70% white people here, and people go, we don't care about the government. But if you look, it is white people petitioning. They don't believe in the BNP. So if we're here, at least justify our cause. I mean, one of the reasons why I'm here is because Nick Griffin said there's no such thing as a black British person or an Asian British person. I was born in this country. My children will grow up in this country. I'm British, so why shouldn't I fight for being British? And it's inhumane. That's the only reason why I'm here. It's not right. You can't justify it at all.
Black regiments fought in the First World War, Second World War, and they fought honourable as well. And the Indians as well. It's only the other day the Polish got recognised. But I mean, there's no memorial. There's no memorial of certain things that the black people done, historical events. There's no memorial, there's nothing. You go down the city, you see all memorial for the animals that helped in the Second World War, London Underground, this, that, but there's nothing really stating us, and we've put so much into this place here, you know what I mean?
Why do you think it is that there's more white people than black people here when the BNP actually don't discriminate against white people? It's more against black and Asians.
I don't know. I think it just shows that people changed, because at one point there was a lot of racism in this country. But the new generation has shown that we have become better. You said you were underwhelmed by the turnout of black people. Do you think there's... Both of you feel free to answer on this, but do you think there's one particular reason why there's not many black people out here, considering this is quite a pertinent issue to black people? Do you think there's any one reason why, or 2 reasons, 3 reasons, whatever the case may be?
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if I could answer the question like that, but I just hope it's not through complacency. I just hope that's not what it is, or that they think they've got something better to do. I really hope people realize the magnitude of a situation like this. This man and his party, they're going from strength to strength in this country. And unfortunately, people who probably haven't got the truth or the facts of the issues, and probably ignorant, they're the people who are encouraging this and allowing this man and his party to get where they're getting. Let's face it, it seems to me there's people now who are admitting on television that they have voted for the BNP, and I don't think a lot of people would have done that maybe even 10 years ago.
It's actually been quite an interesting night at the anti-BNP march, protest, if you want to call it that. It's a couple of things really interested me. As said before, the fact that it was 70-30, 80-20, whatever the case may be, there were significantly more white people than any other race, when the BNP being on Question Time is directly pertinent to blacks and Asians. It's actually really frustrating that there were not more blacks and Asians coming out and supporting the cause. There were a few, don't get me wrong, but it's just that it was only a few.
A lot of black people think that the establishment, in situations like this, it doesn't make no sense as well. Black people has got certain ideas about like police and things like that, and they haven't helped in past history, because there was a time when black people used to march. When you was maybe much younger, you had incidents like in New Cross, that fire when 13 dead and nothing was said, and nothing never happened of it up to this day. There's a feeling in the black community that we're just ignored. You know what I mean?
And that's why it's more important for us to be out here, though. I think that's a reason for us to be out here, to come out in numbers, because, if you think you're being ignored, you don't just, shrivel up and die or stay away. You have to keep the fires burning, But I understand that point, I think, is an important point, that probably they think, what's the point? Because the police are literally protecting these people and their
government as well. This government that look like it's getting in soon. This this conservative government. If anyone done the research on their history, they are institutionally racist. I've got a book at home and it said like 30 years ago, 40 years ago that they wouldn't have they used to blatantly say racist words on the telly and things like that. And you know, up to this day, there's still not no black people on their party or nothing. I mean, Labour tries. Every black person in this country, like my age and under, their parents or their grandparents will tell them vote Labour because they do more for them. They do more for them than this party. And now this party that's coming in now, God help us, I tell you. God help us.
One of my personal grievances coming out of tonight was just the fact that we need more people of our generation. I'm 23. We need more people of our generation because during the Windrush and stuff like that, them guys are like 70, 80 years old now. They're 2-3 generations above us. The generation above us in the 80s and the 70s encountered racism. And the thing is, we may be a more multicultural society, but there are still pockets, there are still minorities that are trying to promote hate, that are trying to promote something negative and relating it back to race. Get up and be at protests like this and be vocal in terms of politics. Be vocal. If you have an axe to grind, whether it be political, whether it be to do with housing or whatever, you got to stand up and make your voice heard. I believe in the saying that the only opinion that doesn't matter is the one that goes unexpressed. So, you've seen the footage from 2009. Do us as black people need to get more involved in politics? Do we need to be out protesting more? Has your opinion of that changed since the Black Lives Matter marches? Because we came out in force for that. But do we need to be more consistent with it? Do we need to be more active in creating our own stuff and supporting our own? Is there complacency? Have things changed because of 2020 since 2009? Were we kind of sleepwalking, not necessarily into disaster, but just sleepwalking through life before that? I would like to know your comments and views. Comment section is below. Let me know. Remember, I am facebook.com/straight shootin, no G, LJA, and also at SSLJA on Twitter. Tweet me. Let me know what your views are. Do we as black people need to get more involved in politics and protests and that kind of thing? Let me know. I'd love to hear your views. As said, you've just seen a 2009 retrospective. I was 11 years younger, a little more fresh-faced too. But it is one of them ones. Do we need to be more active in politics and voting and pushing ourselves forward in that way? Also economically, do we need that independence too? I would like to know your views. I have been Straight Shootin LJA, and until next time, this has been the Straight Shootin Rant. Thank you for joining me.